Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket tens. We're in the big blind. Under the gun player raises 2.8, and then we get a call, and it is on us. So under the gun player is playing 32-16 over about 200 hands, a little more than 200 hands. Early position, he is playing aggressively, basically raising first in, not limping at all. And actually, you can see that it doesn't look like he's limping at all over these 200 hands. So I think he's going to have a pretty solid range. This is 19.5. This is probably close. Might be a little too narrow, might be a little too wide. Again, we don't have a huge number of hands. 200 seems like a lot, but early position's only 47. And he's raised first in 12 out of those 47 hands. You increase that to 50. 12 out of 50 is going to be a smaller percentage. Maybe he got lucky, but I'm going to work with that range. I think the harder range is this player. He's playing 37-21 over 100 hands. He looks like he's a loose player, and in fact, you can see that he's playing 40-some% of hands, plus, more than 40. Cutoff is lower at 23%, but that's 3 out of 13. So I'm just going to say out of those 13 hands, probably didn't have playable hands, or something happened in the hand where he chose not to play it. Maybe a raise and a 3-bet, and he just folded hands that he would have typically called a 2-bet with. When we say called 2-bets, you can see that it's 50% on the button. He's playing a lot. I think he's going to have close to 50% range, but I think when we have 50% range, we have to take out 3-bet percentage, and this is kind of interesting. He's 3-bet 15%, 7 out of 48, twice from early position, once from mid position, 3 times from big blind, 1 time from small blind. Hasn't done it in the cutoff or the button, so I think his 3-betting range could be something like jacks plus ace jack, and we have some information here on those. So you can see that in a 3-bet range, it goes down to ace 10 offsuit. That could be ace. That could be just his standard across the board. Could be just he's raising from the blinds. Who knows? I'm gonna say jacks plus ace jack is probably a good 3-betting range, and then the rest of these hands gets us up to 38.2. This could actually be a little bit tight. To add those 2 gaps. I think we're just going to go there. And then it's on me, and I just called. So we're looking at big blind versus early position. We're looking something like that. 3-betting queens plus ace queen suited, ace king. And then we've got these other hands that we could either 3-bet or call. Definitely, I think tens could be a 3-bet here. Just kind of take it down. If called, we're going to be decent. I think we're playing for some value. This player folded 3-bet after raise. He's folded 0 out of 8. So I would hope that I looked at that stat ahead of time, and I said, if I raise, he's probably going to call, and then it's going to put me out of position, because if I raise and he calls, then this player's probably also going to call. So multi-way pot, much bigger pot, out of position with pocket tens. That, as far as I'm concerned, is a little bit harder to play when we don't flop a pair. As such, I think it's probably okay just to call here, just to kind of keep the pot on the smaller side. So I'm going to say, seeing all of that, I would probably just keep with a call with this entire 3-better call range. And that's what I did. I called. So the flop comes down 9-7-2. So we've got our overpair. I think we are checking 100% to villain. Villain bets. He has a fairly high c-bet percentage, 60% out of position, 100% in position. This is actually a board that probably favors the callers more than the raiser. I think he's going to probably be c-betting maybe close to 100%. Pair plus is 44%. well, no, pair plus with the flush draw is 44%. Maybe he has the gut shot. Maybe he's got 2-card backdoor flush draw. We have to really add in all of these no made hands to kind of get up to a higher percentage. So I'm going to say he's probably c-betting with all of his aces. And maybe Broadway. That gets us up, or we could just say 100%. Say 100% of his cards he's c-betting here, which is possible. Personally, I don't think this is 100% c-betting range. There's a lot of calls. I think it probably makes more sense to c-bet with some value, because we're gonna get called by quite a few hands. We're gonna get called by flush draws, by the 9s, by the 7s, by 8s, by probably 6s. You know, of course, by 10s. You're gonna get called by gut shots, open-ended straight draws. I think there's a lot of cards that will give us value when they call, and that's why I don't think we need to be c-betting 100%. I think it's better to really kind of get down and kind of make c-bet with a more conservative range. The button calls, I'm gonna say, yeah, that c-bet was half pot. So button calls, I think here at the button, he does have aggressive tendencies. So took it, raise c-bet, 0 out of 9. Hasn't really raised the c-bet. I think he's probably calling top pair plus, maybe 8s, maybe middle pairs. I can't imagine he's calling with 3, 4s, 5s, or 6s. Now with another hand player in the hand, I'll add flush draws, open-ended, and gut shots to the mix. So I think that's his calling range, and it's going to be, you know, slightly stronger than that betting range. And then it's on us. What do we do? Do we raise? I don't think our hand's strong enough to check raise. I think if we had 9s or 7s, or, you know, the nut flush draw, we would check raise. But here, I think we're going to probably call with our overpair, with our top pair. Probably call with our 8s. Middle pair, I think we're calling, including with like ace-7, although ace-7's kind of close to a fold here. I would say 8-7, 7-6 are calling because we've had some backdoor potential. These pairs, I think we're gonna fold. We're gonna call with our flush draws. I think our nut flush draws would have been a check raise. I think our open ender 10-8 could be a check raise, but with the flush on the board, I kind of think that's going to be a check call. And I think that kind of makes sense when we look at the set is 5%, and then we've got, so the set would be 9 combos, and then you look at the nut flush draw, and that'll be close to 8 combos. So it'll be about 50-50, and that leaves our straight draws in as a call. Yeah, I think we'll probably call the gut shot once. And if we don't improve, we fold. I think that gut shot's going to be part of 2-card backdoor flush draw as well. But I think that's going to be too long. So we're going to have a pretty tight calling range as well. So you can see that we are fairly tight here. So I'm glad I called, and then King of Diamonds hits. Now we're looking at King of Diamonds, and we're probably just going to be check folding, you know, check. And if villain 1 bets and villain 6 calls again, we're probably just going to start dumping our weaker pairs and not worry about it, because that king should hit villain 1. So I think my check is appropriate. I don't think we're having any sort of lead out. When villain 1 checks, now at this point, I think we are eliminating hands. Still could have all of those. I don't think he's going to have a flush draw. I think flush draw probably continues betting. So I think we're looking at one of these pairs or just absolutely nothing. I think that is, once he checks, that's what we're looking at there. And villain 6 checks. So now once villain 6 checks, again, he has the opportunity to bet the sets, to bet the straight, or to bet the sets, a 2 pair. I think he bets top pair. I actually think he bets the pocket pair greater than the top card. I think middle pair might now check for some value. He's going to be scared of that. I think our draws are probably also going to be calling here. So that's his draw, and you can see right now we should have the best hand. Once everyone checks now, I think if on a safe card, we should be leading and hoping it get called. So like 5 of hearts, I'm going to consider that a safe card. Doesn't really bring much in. Yeah, 6-8 gets there, but I'm not going to panic. So I think when we look at our range here, we are looking at what's going to give us value when we bet. Could we get value from like a 9s, 8s, or 7s? Could we get value from like Ace X, who's calling just to keep us honest? So if we bet, what would this player call? Definitely he would raise a set. Would he call pocket pair less than the top card? Maybe. I'd say yes. Would middle pair call? Probably. Would pocket pair below the second card call? Probably. Would a weak pair call? Probably not. So we're looking at, about 25%. He's going to fold 75% of the time. This player, same thing. I think he's calling. Well, he'll probably raise the straight, probably raise 2 pair, top pair. Probably, actually not raise. He'd probably call top pair. Middle pair, I think, is calling here. And again, if I bet and this guy calls, this guy's going to probably be less likely to call these weaker pairs. But I think we're going to get some value, more value from villain 6 than we would villain 1. So what do? I bet. I lead 6, which is kind of on the smaller side. Less than a third pot, almost a quarter. It looks like I might have something bet. So I'm not sure if I necessarily like the sizing, because, what else would I do this with? I guess I could do it with 6-8, make a bet like this, and hope to get raised. I guess against the right player, you could do this. And maybe I looked at this and saw how aggressive he is and thought, well, maybe he's going to raise me. So let's keep it small. Not sure if I like the six big blind bet. Yeah, definitely I sized it down. Not really sure why, but I think my bet could be larger. And villain 1 calls. So if we think about what hands we bet, I do think we go for value with top pair. I think we could probably go for these value with pocket pair less than the top card. And then I think we could probably bet with some of these missed flush draws. And that's why I said I think 6 doesn't allow us to get there. I think if we're going to do this, make this bet, and we're going to include some of these missed club draws, we're going to probably have to be betting something closer to 18 to 22, something closer to pot size to apply pressure to try to get that fold, because this right now is just, I don't know, I think that's a weak bet. Occasionally you do bet smaller to try to get some thin value. I think if we smash the board and it's going to be very hard for someone else to have anything, I think a smaller size might work. But here, I think it just kind of looks like we've got something mediocre. We don't want to invest too much. And if he raises, it's going to be really hard for us to call. So aggressive player might recognize that small bet and just go ahead and make a big raise. Do something like, raise up to 50, maybe even just bet all in. All right, so we get to showdown. He shows 9-8. I think that is something that I would consider. So the minute, or this is 8-7. I had pocket pair less than the second card. It was the weaker pair that was kind of a little unknown. now that we know he can call with that, we can make a little bit thinner value bets and expect to get paid from him. All right, so on this card, don't mind the pre-flop call, but on the river, I think that 6, that smaller river bet was just kind of a little weak, and if villain was aggressive and raised us, I don't think we would be able to call, and he could raise us as a bluff, and we just have to give up. So I think making it larger would make it harder for someone to raise as a bluff. It helps to get our hand. I think also a larger bet though probably doesn't get called by 8-7. So I guess that's also the thing to consider. All right, hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, look tomorrow for another hand.